Oh, you can't even hear me this entire time. I just noticed. I am so sorry. You're watching me moving stuff around and getting adjusted, and I was actually talking to the camera, and you couldn't even hear me. Okay. Um, so we just got done with the nine-tailed fox. She looks really cute. Um, so now we're gonna be working on the two mermaid lovers here. So I really was digging the ink process. I'll do some of that with this as well, with the ink on here. But I'm wanting to incorporate some watercolor pencils. Because my next project that I thought about is actually a project that I was going to do for a fundraiser that I am part of in August. For the motorcycle group, we do it for Call to Freedom. It's a motorcycle ride, and they help those who are victims of human trafficking, getting them away from that situation, counseling, and helping them get back on their feet financially wise, mentally, and all kinds of stuff. So it's good stuff. So I was thinking with that project, to kind of bring in, the U.S. and freedom and stuff. So I was thinking of drawing a poster, on that big watercolor paper that I have over here, doing something on there, and making a black and white flag in the background, and putting a rose in the front over the top of it, and then I don't know if the flag, if I was going to have that look like it's worn out to a degree, or if it's crisp and clean. I'm not quite sure. But I think the design process of that, what we're going to do it in digital art. So that'll be the next project after we get this done. We'll do some digital art to design that ultimate on paper project that I'm thinking of doing. So we'll stay tuned and hopefully get that done. Definitely before before August. So if we start on it now, then we will definitely have enough time to get it done, and then assess and see if it's a project worth putting on that fundraiser, because I did a project last year on something and I just was not that satisfied with it, so I never put it out to excuse me, to put it in the fundraiser, frame it or whatever. I just no, I don't like it that much, and so I just never did. Sometimes that happens. So, just noticed I didn't get my tape on here quite straight, but that's okay. I think it'll be fine. The picture looks straight. I think it went through there a little crooked anyway, so. So, here's what we're going to do next. I am thinking of doing the background. I've got this red color here, so I'm going to kind of get this stirred up a little bit. I think this one, yeah, this one I got mixed up the other day, so this one should be pretty friendly to get activated, or not activated, but mixed up, so it's not all the settlement on the bottom. Alright. I'm going to put a couple of drops of this ink in here and set that bad boy aside. And I put my other dropper away. In the wrong drawer. Another 10 drops of water on there. See here. Alright. We're going to go in with our large brush here. See if I can kind of organize a few things here so you can kind of watch a little bit what I'm doing here. There we go. So, I'm gonna wet down the outside area here. Get in a different position. Got a different camera mount from Amazon yesterday. So that should be here tomorrow. So I'll have that set up. Next week. And then maybe move my camera back into my other zone that I had it at originally. This spot's a love-hate relationship spot, I think. It's okay to some degree, but on others it's not so much. It is an easy spot to put away the camera, get it out of the way when I'm doing my normal daily duties off stream. But you know what? I'm going to go in with the big brush here. This is big area. I just wanted to create a solid background on here. Not like what we did with the other one. So once we get the ink laid down, excuse me, the main part of this ink process, let me get some more water in my brush, is to just kind of create a solid background, kind of like what you would do with the water brushes or water markers. Create a solid background and then come back in later with a little bit here. Alright, so oh, I just noticed a blob. Oh no, that didn't blob there. I did that on purpose. I remember now. Alright, kind of like how you go over like a water marker and then create a solid surface and then go back in with a colored pencil and create some of those variants in there. Similar process as what we're going to do here. Doing the inks here to create a nice solid background, or or variable background, at least nothing that looks horrible, hopefully. Excuse me. And then come back in with those brushes, or the watercolor, and create a variable and stuff. Trying to get this to look smooth as possible here. Almost looks like I got something on the paper over here. This is a clean piece of paper, but it looks kind of funky right there, but whatever. We'll roll with it. Oops, sorry. Not quite 10 drops on there, but we'll see. And I'm just gonna come in. Should probably switch to a smaller brush for this area, or these tinier spots. I think I'll go back in with a tinier brush later. Oh, I was trying to stay away from that. Oh, well, guess we'll just go over it, and then when we get to painting that part, we'll fix it. Right. Oops. Just tag that boy's head. Get as much as a bit I can off. All right. Looking pretty good, I think. Still not quite happy with this spot. See how that works. All right. Rinse my brush off. And gotta let that dry for a bit. Excuse me. Turn on my fan, help it out. So yep, I think oh, that helped out. Just kind of doing some adjustments. And then what we can do with the hearts, we can come back in with a white or whatever. Or a red, we can darken them up. Either way, they still have quite a bit of play. The hearts right in here. I was debating, like, when I was looking at this, I thought, color all this in. I'm like, wait a second. There's another arm in there. Couldn't really do that. Now on these mermaids, I mean, typically mermaids are portrayed with, it's just normal human skin colors of various different degrees. And then sometimes it's changed up and it is green or odd colors or whatever, which is kind of cool too. I'm not sure if I want to stick with the natural looking one or if I want to go on the opposite end of the spectrum there. This looks odd. It's the hair there, that's for sure, but it's just kind of weirdly there. But yeah, as of right now, what I'm planning on doing is just doing a flat wash of color. And then coming back in. With the watercolor brushes to add definition and variance. All right. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's do the skin. I think I've had enough time to think. I'm just gonna do the brown. All right. Two drops. And I'm going to lighten it up. I think I'm going to do a few more drops. I don't want to use the big brush. We use a little one here. Now I know I did way too much ink on this one. I didn't quite do enough the first time, so it's just kind of getting everything all kind of backwards here. Still have my fan on. Help dry this, which working with this ink is a lot like working with alcohol inks or alcohol markers. You want to kind of keep it wet as long as possible so you can get a nice smooth blend, but as soon as it dries, it is permanent. When you're working with alcohol ink, too much. You would maybe use lines to prevent hard edges, but you can do that with this, you know, work with lines to try to prevent the hard edges and try not to have too much water pooling to create a hard edge like I did over there. But using like the lines of the arms and stuff to help blend and whatnot. So you can get a nice, smooth, even flow. So I've got a lot of this ink here. I might come in again later after it's dried to create my own little variables, you know, like something like in here too. Some shadow. I'm just going to make it a little bit darker right now anyways. He's looking a little too pale for my taste. But this will create a nice baseline when I come back in with the watercolor pencils. Water break. Now I could do their tails in two different ways. I could do hers in this green or maybe even a teal. Yeah, that teal sounds good for her. And for his, I could do a blue Or green, which, I mean, we're kind of going back to the same colors we used yesterday. That's okay. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's see. I used the grass green yesterday. Or the other day. I guess that one. That green did kind of bleed out a little bit. But I think, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the teal and the green. Just trying to use my light to see how much pigment is stuck to the bottom. I think I mixed them all up actually the other day. I think I went through my entire batch of colors and just went through and mixed them all up just because I've been sitting there for so long. Alright, make sure that's all clean because we're going to go back to that. I know my water is pink and I should have a rinse brush and a wash brush or whatever. Okay, so this is the teal. Good, a drop in there. Pretty much keeping the same theme, 10 drops for each color to dilute it here. So we're going to do her tail, this teal color. I think pretty much all we'll do today is just get these excuse me, baseline colors on there. It probably won't even take us the hour that I generally try to stream here. I'm not going to be on tomorrow. Little teeny tiny spot over here that could be this pink red. getting in those lines and finding areas that needed to be touched up a bit, which is good to do it now while everything is still here and prepped and ready to go. So then later when you go back in, oh, fiddlesticks, I have a spot in here that I missed when I originally did my coloring, and now I need to go back and fix it, and then it doesn't quite match up, which is, it happens. Spot over here with her skin that I noticed. Didn't look like it earlier, but looking at it again, yes. That filled in there. Soak up some of that extra water. All right. I think I'm going to come in here for her coverings and get that painted in a teal as well. There. I think that looks pretty darn good. Come back in here with some of this pink red. All right, there's that. Love her tail. See if I can get a drop out of this, because some of these droppers just, no, it's like they're clogged or something. Ugh. That's one thing I've noticed with some of these. I don't think I can reach all the way down there. Nope. With some of these droppers on here, they got, I don't know if it's the ink that's this is not the same dropper style as the other one, but it's these droppers on these Doc Martens, look at that, I just squeezed it. I'll show you here in a second. Look at the lid on. I squeezed it to try to get air out to suck in water. Now it can't suck in air anymore. It's all depressed. So I don't know. Some of those Doc Marten bottles, I squeezed them once and they felt very crunchy. And at first I thought it was like it seemed like a plastic layer. Like a plastic layer inside or something. That was preventing them from getting squished or whatever, like a plastic, it's kind of hard to explain, like a plastic insert, hard plastic thing, and then when you squeezed it, it just crushed that plastic, broke it apart, and I'm thinking on it. I wonder if it actually was dried up ink pigment in there. And when you squeeze the bulb on the top, it broke up that dried up ink pigment layer and just clogged some of those dropper ends. Yeah, these tails are quite similar in color. Obviously, teal is like blue-green and green is green, but that's okay. There's still a bit of a variable in them, so I like that. His tail is much easier to paint. Of course, because there's no hair wrapping around his tail. Yeah, a lot of that pink ended up on this tail here. This guy. But we'll make it work. We will make it work. So there's our baseline. I was thinking coming in and doing the hair and stuff. But I'm not sure what color hair to do. I mean, I could do brown for him and then blonde for her. Let me add a little extra brown in here. Darken up our brown so we can do his hair a little bit real quick. And then we'll do a yellow for her hair. Okay. And yellow. Not a good shake. That back. And a dropper Yellow looked like it took a little bit of a green hue to it, but that's okay. I think you'll notice it. Just about got our baseline colors. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm glad I went. I was thinking of just calling it quits after I did the tails and stuff, but now that I've done this, I'm glad I did, because I think I'm going to go back in along her hair area with the pink that I still have ready. Well, that was part of her tail. I just noticed that. Take that up and then come back in with her tail color. So fine little line right here. Let's see if I can stick with it. Kind of. Periodically, I see something jumping around on my screen, and I don't catch it or see it, and when it happens, I see something flicker in my screen right here. But when I look at it, it doesn't look like anything's different. Alright, I'm back to her teal. For this part of her, my brush looked like it was way too fat. And it was. Okay. Go back in over here with this pink. I'm blotting it off screen here. Kind of wetting the paper around it a little bit so then it can kind of feather the color out. So I don't end up at the hard edge like that. I could probably go back and color it in. Oh, just try to see if it'll let it bleed. Just try to pick up some of that water here. I mean, technically that hard line where that's at, that's a hairline. A fine line for hair. But, yeah. I think we got a pretty good start on this one. Yep, not a long stream today, but just getting some basics down. And we'll work on details. Maybe we'll work on her first and get her defined so she's not so flat, one-dimensional. And then work on him and stuff. Oh, one more thing I want to do really quick. I just want to go over his hair one more time just to darken up that brown. I just wanted to darken his hair up just a smidge bit more. You probably can't tell much, but it is a little bit darker now. So, that's what we'll work on next week. We'll work on adding some definition. We'll be doing that with watercolor pencils, adding some definition, and yeah, see how that looks. I'm sure it'll look great. I did a rose with it one time. We're using watercolor pencils to add more variables in it, and it turned out awesome. So I just haven't done it with an ink base layer and then watercolor pencil at the top. So we'll see how this goes. So thanks for watching and joining. We will see you in the next one, and you be safe.